Multiple Sclerosis, Smiling and Hurting, by Dorothy M. Mitchell. Chapter 1. Childhood in Yorkshire. I was born in a small Yorkshire village just before the Second World War. I was born blind in my left eye, something to do with the optic nerve not forming properly, I believe. I can't say I ever miss it, for they do say, what you have never had you don't miss. But I remember as a child I used to drive myself mad trying to see the left side of my nose. When I looked cross-eyed down the front of my nose, it was easy to see the right side, but I could never see the left. Mum used to tell the tale of me having both eyes out when I was a baby as a consultant in that particular field, attempted to restore the sight. An operation done by a German specialist. She used to say my eyes looked like 2 pieces of liver after the op, for ages afterwards. But I was still blind in my left eye. She also said I cried a great deal during that time. I don't remember it though. I have no recollection at all of that particular incident. Perhaps that's a good thing. Looking back, it must have been traumatic for Mum. I say this because my youngest son, David, suffered night colic when he was a young baby. Night after night he screamed, pulling his little legs up to his chest. Gripe water and cuddled being his only comfort. These colic attacks finally abated when he was about 6 months old. By that time both his dad and I were worn out. I don't think gripe water is available now, new, supposedly better product taking their place. All I know is that at the time, gripe water was my much-needed friend and David's soothing balm. What I do remember about my fearful school days, though, was the horrible glasses I had to wear. They featured in my life from the age of 2 years old, round lenses in a frame with curly sides that used to rub my ears sore. I had a pronounced squint in my blind eye, and somehow the lens in the glasses acted like a magnet to prevent my eye from turning into the corner. I was the eldest of 3 children. Mum used to talk about a baby born before me. She was premature and weighed only 1 pound. She died at the age of 1 week. Mum said Maureen, that was the baby's name, would have easily fitted into a pint pot. Looking back to that time, it must have hurt Mum a great deal. I never did find where the baby had been buried. It wasn't talked about. Another thing that I found strange when my brother and sister were born and growing up, Mum never encouraged us kids to cuddle each other. It simply wasn't done. In fact, Mum never told me she loved me until shortly before her death at the age of 89 years. I had sworn to myself years earlier that if I got married and had kids, they would be told they were loved. Perhaps there was some reason for this in Mum's own childhood. I'm not saying we were badly treated, on the contrary, we were well looked after, but there was just something that made Mum hold back on showing affection. When I was 2 years old, my brother Brian was born, followed 3 years later by Sandra, my sister. I remember vividly Brian and myself going into the air raid shelter Dad had built in our garden. It was dark and cold. The dreaded sirens had just gone off, telling us that there was another attack from enemy planes coming over the night sky. Mum was on the doorstep holding newly born baby Sandra. We all rushed into the dark shelter to the fearful drone of aircraft overhead, with just a few candles for light, care being taken not to show the smallest chink of light at all. If you did, you heard the air raid warden shout, "Put that bloody light out." If you have ever watched Dad's Army on TV, then you will know exactly what I mean. This happened on a regular basis, and it was horrible. We never had a bomb drop on our village, although there was an underground aerodrome close by, and according to what I have been told since, the enemy were looking for the place for ages. They never did find it. I can see Mum now sweeping shrapnel from our garden path after an air raid, but being inside the Anderson shelter during an air raid was very scary, with the loud noise of aircraft overhead. The sound of bombs whistling down was frightening. I was about 5 years old at the time. I didn't understand the terrible implications of what was going on, but I knew it was pretty bad. I started school at the age of 3, and from the very first day I hated it. We had to take our gas masks to school. I couldn't bear the smell of it when we had to practice wearing them. Having my face in the thing was horrible. It smelled of something nasty, all rubber. Anyway, it was frightening. I felt I couldn't breathe. I don't think the other kids liked them either. Some of the masks were made in the shape of Mickey Mouse. It didn't make me like the contraption any better. We had to do our schoolwork wearing them. It was very hard as the eyepieces kept misting up, and for me wearing glasses it was doubly difficult. Dad was in the Home Guard during the Second World War. I can see his rifle now.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?